Well, hello there. Time for another exciting episode of geometry. Today we're going to be learning about slopes and how they relate to parallel and perpendicular lines, which you've been talking about before. So right off the bat, let's talk about how to find the slope. You have done this before in Algebra 1. We have a formula, which you should copy down in your composition books, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You also may have heard rise over run before, so that's why we have the y's on the top, because the y's go up and down, and then your run on the bottom, your x's. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 is the slope formula. So you can plug in a couple points and get it that way, or if you already have a graph, you can look at 2 points on your graph where they cross, or where they are on the grid marks, and you can count. We go up 2 over 3. So here we have a slope of 2/3. Again, you could plug each of these points into the formula and also find it that way. There are different types of slopes. So a positive slope is always going to go from bottom left to upper right, and you're going up. Negative, you're going down, so that means your graph will be going from the upper left to bottom right. Zero slope is when we have a horizontal line, horizontal meaning going from left to right. So that is zero slope, it's flat. And then we have undefined, okay? That's when we're gonna have a vertical line. So eventually you're gonna need to be able to write equations of all of these different types of lines. But today we're just looking at slope. So here we're supposed to find the slope of each line. So let's start with the ones you should be a little familiar with. The black line. So you can choose, well, I'll use pink. On the black line you pick 2 points, so we can go here. I'll try to make the dots big so you can see them. And here. So we go up 3 and to the right 1. So the black line. And we use M to denote slope. Why? I don't. So the black line has a slope of 3 over 1. All right, now if we look at our blue line, you should notice it's going to be negative. And if we pick 2 points on that blue line, so we can go, well, those are pretty close. Looks like I can go here. And I don't know, you can go here, here. It's kind of going through all the grid lines. So let's just pick that one there. Here we're going up 2, but now instead of going to the right, we're going to the left. So when we're going the other way, we have a negative slope, so we need a negative over here. So negative 2 over 2, which reduces then to negative 1. Green line. Well, that's a vertical line, so that one is undefined. And then our red line looks like there's no slope. It's a horizontal line, so that has a slope of 0, or no slope. So again, undefined versus no slope. What would be the slope of a line passing through the points 10, negative 9, and negative 4, negative 7? Well, to figure out that, we're going to use our slope formula. So I'll write it out here for you again. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So on top, we're going to subtract our y's. So negative 9 minus a negative 7. I'll write it out. Then on the bottom, 10 minus negative 4. So 2 negatives make a positive. We have negative 2 over 14, which reduces to negative 1 over 7. So again, you can look at a graph, count how many up, how many over, pay attention to negative versus positive, and you can also use the slope formula to find it that way as well. All right, so a couple new postulates. You'll want to add these in your composition book along with that slope formula. So pause it and write them in there. You should have them written in when you come to class. Now, to talk about these two, okay, they're relating parallel and perpendicular lines to slope. So the first one talks about slopes of parallel lines. Two lines are going to be parallel if and only if they have the exact same slope. So if the slopes are the same, we say they're parallel. Perpendicular lines says two lines are perpendicular if and only if their slopes are opposite reciprocals. The only kind of exception being your horizontal lines are going to be perpendicular to vertical lines, because undefined and zero aren't really opposite reciprocals. So that's kind of a one exception. So opposite reciprocal. So if you think of, say, we have a slope of 3, okay? And really that would be 3 over 1. So opposite's going to change the sign. So that is going to make it negative, and then reciprocal flips it. So it's negative 1 over 3 for perpendicular lines, okay? Again, parallel, both slopes will be the same. Perpendicular, you're going to have opposite reciprocal for your slope. So, which lines are parallel? Well, if we go over here and look at our lines, and we pick out a couple of points, so say here and here, that has a slope up 4 over 1. This one looks like we're going up 3 over 1. This one looks like we're going from here to here, so 4 over 1. The two parallel lines would be 1 and 3 because they have the same slope. This one says, what is the slope of a line perpendicular to this line? Well, this slope if we pick 2 points, it looks pretty simple. Up 1, left 1, this one has a negative slope. So the opposite reciprocal of that, well, opposite makes it positive. The reciprocal, though, is still going to keep it at 1 over 1. So our answer would be positive 1 there. Find the unknown coordinates of the line through the points has the given slope. So in other words, we have 2 points, although we're missing part of this point and we have a slope. Now to figure this out, we're going to use our slope formula, which says I subtract my y's over my x's, and I'm going to get my slope, which is 3 over 2. So plug in what you know. I have one of my y's, so if I'm subtracting this way, that would give me 6 minus y, and then I'm going to have negative 4 minus 2 equals 3 over 2, which then is going to give me 6 minus y over negative 6 equals 3 over 2. And then we can use cross multiplication. Negative 6 times 3 is 18, negative 18. And that's going to be equal to 2 times all this, so 12 minus 2y. Subtract 12, that's negative 30, and divide. See if you do the next example on your own. Or if you're totally lost, then watch me do it. So again, we subtract our y's, so 1 minus 4. Subtract the x's, 2 minus x. Going to equal our slope, which is negative 1 over 1. So then, by simplifying, I'm going to get negative 3 over 2 minus x equals negative 1 over 1. Cross multiply, negative 3 times 1, that's negative 3. Negative 1 times 2 minus x, so that's going to be negative 2 plus x when I switch the signs. Add 2, negative 1 equals x. that's it. So we're looking at slope. Main takeaways, you need to figure out how to find the slope using 2 points, either by your formula or counting on a graph. And then know that slopes of parallel lines are the same. Slopes of perpendicular lines are opposite reciprocals.
Would a custodian please call extension 3405? Custodian please call extension 3405.
Thank you for interrupting, Gloria. So let me reiterate that. If I wanted the slope of, well, we haven't quite gotten that far. Let's say I have a slope that's 4 over 3. Actually, let's make that negative 4 over 3. If our line's parallel, then that slope is also negative 4 over 3. But if we want the slope of a line perpendicular, then our slope would be positive 3 over 4. So just to reiterate that point. If you're parallel, the slope is the same. If it's perpendicular, we have opposite reciprocals. So hopefully I got something out of that. If not, well, make sure you ask lots of questions on Wednesday.